I heard a rumor once that Shane O'Brien once crossed paths or was feet away from my queen, Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And I think it's important people know that as we say hi and hello to the
close.
fellas from Missin Curfew. Listen, 1 degree of separation counts in my books. Anyways, fellas, how you doing? We're down to 4 teams.
We're doing good, Jackie. We're both a little hurt. We were in Cabo all weekend, so a couple IVs got us back feeling good. But
oh my God!
For the conference finals, and we did see you at the concert having a time. So good job on you.
It was an absolute blast. But let's get into it and talk some hockey here. We got 4 teams left after Dallas punches their ticket to the Western Conference Final last night, winning in Game 7 against the Kraken. So I'll ask you guys this. Who's the most intriguing player left in the postseason? Like, who's a player that's got your attention right now that we're at the Final Four?
I'll jump in here. For me, it's Rope Hintz. Obviously scored a big goal last night. You know, I thought the Seattle Kraken were going to do it to me again, right? They hung in there. Grubauer played unbelievable. He took advantage of a bad bounce and came in and scored. He's been unbelievable. He got better as the second round went on. We all know what he did in the first round. But to me, Updog, Rope Hintz right now is going to be a big factor in the West Final.
Yeah, he's a powerful forward, and he's at the top of his game, and that's what you need out of your top players in the playoffs. For me, it's Bobrovsky. And I think if the Florida Panthers have any chance of beating Carolina, he's got to be at his best. I think he's 7-2 in the playoffs so far. When he jumped in for Lions in the first round, he's that Vezina caliber goalie. You know, that Paul Maurice has all the confidence in the world in right now. So for me, he's been the MVP and the guy pushing the Florida Panthers past these teams. And for me, he's the guy leading that race.
You know, I would say this for intriguing, someone I'm going to continue to watch because I've been really impressed with his game is Jack Eichel.
I knew it.
You know, I just because we watch these young guys come into the league. You guys were young guys that came into the league. We know the process. There was a lot of hype around Jack. He was the guy, you know, behind McDavid. He's in Buffalo. It didn't go well. He gets traded, has this kind of surgery, which, I mean, that could have been it. You never know if that doesn't work out. And yet he comes now and I just think he's had a great 200-foot game. He's got really good line mates. It's a great team to watch right now. So Jack Eichel is the guy I'll be keeping a close eye as we go into this next round against Dallas.
I think it's a fantastic pick because I think when you're selected that high and things don't necessarily go, I mean, they went well individually for Jack in Buffalo, but in terms of team success and making the playoffs, there's a lot of pressure that comes with being that high of a pick, even if you are overshadowed by the likes of Connor McDavid. So I love that pick. I was with you, Uppy. For me, it's Sergei Bobrovsky. Like, can he keep this going? He's going to have about a week off in between. Is that a good thing, a bad thing? But I think he has the potential here, if he can keep doing what he's doing, to be the X factor in the series against Carolina. And who knows, maybe in a cup final as well. You could argue he's the best goaltender left in the postseason based on the way that he's played since coming into Game 5 against Boston in the first round. We shall see. All right, this question is it's very up your alley, let's say. All right, we got 4 cities left.
Yeah.
I believe all of us will be on the road for the Stanley Cup Final. I know you and I will each. You guys were there last year, so I assume the fellas will be there too. Of the cities left, which one is the best to visit?
Ooh. Great question. And all I know, EJ, every week, Redmond and Upshall, they seem to be on the same page. Hey, we might have to start texting each other on the side here because they seem to have some chemistry on us, fella. But for me, it's Vegas, and I'm going to
how much
Florida.
time do we have to talk
Vegas
about it?
for me, obviously, all these cities are great. Besides maybe Raleigh's not great. I used to have a lot of them. For me, I'm going to say Vegas.
Raleigh taking strays over here for no reason.
But Vegas is the spot.
Yeah, and if we want to talk, there's so many great things about these cities. The Hurricanes, to me, are the team to beat left. I think they're – I said this last week about Seattle. You lauged at me. It was tough to watch them go down.
Thank God.
But the Hurricanes are tough to beat. And you like golf. I'm shocked you don't like Raleigh. This would be maybe we'll have to tee it up if we're there.
I don't like golf as much as I like mixing it with you in Vegas.
That's true. But, Vegas is a great town. Dallas, I'm happy for those guys. They've been there. They were there in the bubble. The guys like Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, these guys have been there a long time. I'd love to see them win. And then Florida, obviously, Obi and I, you had a cup of coffee there. I was there for 4 years. I'm happy for those guys. The Ekblads, the Barkovs, Matty Tkachuk, who's playing great. Great town. And I'm happy for those fans there too.
Didn't really answer the question, but
well, I mean, it's
very political response.
Well, Uppy buried Raleigh.
Yeah, that's true. We got
Obi
both
buried,
sides of the spectrum.
not Uppy. Obi buried Raleigh. Let's get it clear. So when the darts start coming in, we know who they're going to be aimed at.
Yes.
But he's already won over the Devils fans.
Yeah.
So now he's moved on. Now he's moved on to Raleigh, taking on one by one, taking out the Metropolitan Division cities. Let me know when you're going after D.C. and Pittsburgh. I know. But I would say it's hard to get past Vegas, right? I mean, because it's Vegas, and then Jackie and I will be at the blackjack tables digging in, trying to win a few bucks.
Listen, we did, if I recall, you and I did pretty well.
We did okay. And
our buddy Steve Mears.
Steve Mears has his own system.
He had to step back.
He's got a system. It's called losing. It's losing.
And now Steve Mears, now he's just taking stray bullets.
That's
anyway,
right. Sorry, Mearsy.
I'm going to say Dallas, actually, because
really?
I spent a lot of time in Vegas.
I lived
in
Dallas.
Vegas,
yeah.
And so I haven't spent that much time in Dallas.
Great
I feel
place.
like there's probably some hidden gems, some really awesome spots to go in Dallas.
Great spot. Great
I would love to spend a couple weeks hanging out in Dallas. But we'll get back to the hockey talk. The Edmonton Oilers are done, despite having two of the best players in the world on their roster in Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. We've talked for quite some time, specifically post-deadline, about this being the best Oilers team in the McDavid era. You look at how it played out for them. How close do you think Edmonton is to winning a Stanley Cup based on what you've seen?
Well, anytime you have Leon and Connor, and I think they have him for, Connor for 3 more years, Leon for 2, you're going to be close. These two guys, they're too good to not either A, make the playoffs, or B, have a nice stretch. I think if they had the goaltending this year, Jackie, it was sad to see them lose, especially at home. So many friends and family at these games. So very sad to see them lose. But, if they had the goaltending and they found the depth and defense to kind of get them through these games, and when the games got tough, they would have been right there. And I think if they get past Vegas with only 8 more wins to go and light at the end of the tunnel, who knows how big of a step Connor and Leon could have taken their games to win and to push them over the finish line.
Yeah, I think before the series started, I think EJ agreed with us that we thought the Oilers were the best team left. And to me, with McDavid and Draisaitl, especially in the second half of the season, it really filled the holes that the Oilers had. And that's what showed. I mean, Stuart Skinner, he looked like a rookie to me at times. Their defense wasn't good enough. Their D-zone coverage was, really, really bad. So it sucks that those two guys are gone. But the Edmonton Oilers, they got some holes to fill, EJ, and I'm sure Ken Holm will take care of them in the offseason. But it's a team game, and Vegas was the better team. Yeah,
I would agree with all those things. And I am going to be curious to watch, because there's clearly some things that still need to be fixed. The D-zone play. And we've been talking about it here, guys. It's like, as much as we love McDavid and Draisaitl, but like when you're asking those guys to play 24, 25 minutes a night, it's hard for them to be great on all areas of the rink. And you saw Leon Draisaitl, he just looked a little bit worn out in that last game and got beat up a little bit in the D zone. So you wonder if they need just a little bit more help from that bottom 6 group, and where Jay Woodcroft stands behind the bench. I thought there was some moves that he could have maybe taken a different path, but obviously with McDavid and Draisaitl, the front end of the engine is built.
Yeah.
So they got to fix the
rest
of it.
But it's been built.
Yeah.
It's been built.
Yeah, it's getting better.
Yes.
It's getting closer.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're getting closer, but we're not quite there yet. It's interesting because at the start of the second round, according to the DraftKings odds, it was Toronto and Edmonton had the best odds at that time to win the Stanley Cup. Now they are both out. What are your thoughts on the Toronto Maple Leafs and how they should spend their offseason? If you were in charge in Toronto, what changes would you make, if any? There's always an option to run it back.
Yeah.
Where do we begin? Just start by looking in the mirror.
Yeah, I heard a lot of the words like belief coming out of these guys in their post-playoff belief. Belief in what? We won 1 more playoff. You won 5 playoff games this year. To me, they just didn't play with enough desperation. They didn't get to inside ice enough. They didn't play with that passion that you need come playoff time. And when you make the amount of money that those top 4 guys make, is it right or wrong? I'm not sure, Updog, but that's the way it is. You got to be better come playoff time. We'll see what happens with Kyle and Sheldon, but it's truly, to me, on their top guys.
Yeah, and the word comfort zone for me, if that zone is this big, you got to find a way to bring your game and elevate it to a level that no one in the building or no one in this league or people that like to critique your game, like people like us, we need to see you go above and beyond what you've ever done, because quite frankly, in the last 4 or 5 years since Dubas has been there, none of their top guys have taken over these playoff games when the game matters. And that to me is why you got to look in the mirror, and you got to, this comfort zone of being a Toronto Maple Leaf, and everything is so perfect, and they take great care of us, and we fly on the best planes, and we have the best hotels. That doesn't matter.
No one ever gets traded.
Yes, you gotta do something above and beyond for yourself, for your team, for your fans, the whole works.
Yeah, I would just say, add to that, guys, and I'd ask you, because I've mentioned it this week, I think, Bruce Cassidy is a really good coach. He had a lot of success in Boston, almost won a Stanley Cup. If it wasn't for Jordan Binnington in Game 7, first period, maybe they do win that Stanley Cup with Boston. He's got his team playing well this year. Jack Eichel, I think, has really grown in this one season with Bruce Cassidy. I haven't seen that growth from the star players in Toronto under Sheldon Keefe, so I kind of feel it's time for a change there. I mean, what do you make of that? Like, I don't see growth there. Do you?
Yeah, no, and I know you're right. And I think Sheldon Keefe's a good coach and a good guy, and he had his opportunity in Toronto. And I'm with you, EJ. It hasn't worked out. I don't think I'm putting it all on him. Yeah. Like I said, it's on the big boys. But at the same time, maybe a new voice is what they need. And Sheldon Keefe, if he does get local, he'll get another opportunity. But you can't continue to bring these guys back in and just say, oh, this will be the year, because they've had a lot of chances, and it's not going to get any easier, in my opinion, for them to win. So they got to do something.
I think both things can be true, right? I think that it's absolutely on the players playing the game. I think they would say that themselves, that they need to be better. You look at the goals scored by the core four in Game 6 and 7 scenarios, and it's not great. It really leaves a lot to be desired. So that is on them. They're the ones out there playing the game. But I think it can also be true that Sheldon Keefe hasn't found a way to get them into a more successful position, or to get them in areas where they can succeed, or find more open ice, or get to the inside. Because we hear a lot with the Leafs, like, oh, well, we had a lot of chances in Game 2, or we hit the post early in this game, and this could have been different, and that could have been different. It's like, almost doesn't count. Like, that's what the money's for. The money is to finish. The money is to show up in the big spots. That's why you make $11 million and Kampf makes whatever the heck he makes. I don't know, because it's not important enough. Like, you know what I mean? So I think both things can be true, and I think when something becomes stagnant, as maybe it has, you have to make some sort of change, whether that's a player or the coach or something else. I don't get paid enough money to know the answer, but I think both things can be true.
Yeah, Jackie, I agree. Just let me jump in there. And when you say those guys think they were not, I don't know if Mitch Marner and Matthews and Nylander believe it was their fault. Like, their post press conferences were belief, and we had our chances. And what do you mean you had your chances? Like, you didn't get it done, and you have to look in the mirror and say, we just didn't get it done. Like, I didn't love what they were saying with their, their exit meetings and what they were saying in the media. It left a sour taste in my mouth. Yeah,
and there's a lot of scar tissue there from the way these guys have played the last 4 years. And the only way to break down scar tissue, when you think of it, is to kind of beat it up a little bit. But there's been no one there to really beat these guys up and really, like, get them out of their, out of a zone that they've been in for a while. So.
Yeah, I think there hasn't really been a consequence for losing yet, I don't think. For any of those players or the coach, or really any of the main pieces there, there's never really been a consequence for losing. And it's crazy, because when you look at the teams that they have lost to, I think they've been the favorite going into almost every series over the last 4 years.
At least several of them, right? Columbus, Montreal.
Not Tampa the first year they weren't, but this year they were. And against Florida they were as well.
Yeah, they were the favorite to win the cup.
So so you think about it, right? It's like, it's not like you were going up against these like powerhouses and losing. And I think with Edmonton, not that they're the same, but to compare, I think you watch Edmonton in their first round, and then against a very good Vegas team. I thought there was more fight there from the Edmonton Oilers.